All right, this is Gong, we're architecture office in Beijing, Vector Architects. Today, I'd like to share one of our recent projects, the Captain's House renovation. For me, this is a very specific project and very special as well, because if we consider this overall condition in China, after almost 30 years of the drastic urbanization process, and now people start thinking one of the very crucial issues of architecture discourse is the relationship between the new and old. So I will elaborate along with my presentation later on. This building, first of all, it's a very tiny, very small scale project, and it's located in the southern part of China, which is almost like a tropical climate. And when you see the red spot, that's the location of the building. And it's actually right in front of the ocean. And it's a village of fishing industry. And that's a bird's eye view. The right spot actually shows you the exact location of the project. So it's facing two pieces of the ocean. To the east, southeast, it's a very beautiful, poetic, peaceful ocean view. But to the northwest, it's a busy harbor. So this building, it's a connection of, it's a potential connection of these two fantastic landscape characteristic. That's the original condition of the building. It's the view of the village. Well, it's not a pretty village. It's almost like a chaotic scenery in front of us. But for me, every time I go, I like this place because I feel the real energy behind the people's regular daily life. In China, when you go to this kind of, we call it a national classified beautiful village, even though it's pretty in terms of the landscape, but sometimes it's there's no really people live inside. It's only the elderly people and the children. The young people, they're all dragged into this metropolitan city. So this is one of the issues of this Chinese urbanization polarization process. But now people are trying to counterbalance that condition. But this village is different. We still see a full chain of generation of the fishing people. So that's our task. Before, it's only two-story building in front of the ocean. And because the building has been there for more than 20 years or 25 years, there is some physical problem like the structure safety and water leaking problem. And beyond that, the client asked for additional space because every summer, the local climate is very comfortable. So friends and relatives will come over to the place to stay in their house. So they want more space to accommodate such the stay from their friends or relatives. And on top of the cliff, it's actually the house, the original shape of the house. So no matter how problematic the building is, the location is really exuberant. That's the original interior condition, a very typical local way of how they decorate the interior space. And that's the captain's couple. And she's the daughter of the captain, who plays a very important role throughout this collaboration process. And that's the water leaking condition before we got involved into this project. So that's the two direction. The first time I went to their house, I stand on top of the second floor. You can see the very dramatic landscape ocean view to the east and the busy harbor to the west. And then we try to imagine if we can create a space to really connect these two very powerful scenery together into the architecture. In the middle is the captain and myself on the right, and our structure engineer, which is a very competent structure engineer in China, Xiao Zhongzhen, who plays a very important role in this project. So everything starts with the structures solution because we have to reinforce the original structure, as long as at the same time we have to increase the capability of the structure to support the third floor, which is the new addition of the building. So the red line indicates the new layer of concrete attaching to the original masonry wall. So the entire structure is reinforced by this 12 centimeter thickness of the concrete layer. And because of this new structure, it gave us freedom to remanipulate the floor plan. So on the left side is the original floor plan. Of course, there are many issues, but one of the biggest issue is they always have their bathroom or storage room in between the living space and the ocean, and blocking the air and the light into the house. So after the adjustment, we relocate this supplementary program alongside the back wall of the house to open up their major facade to the ocean to accept more light and more air, also the landscape view. Similar condition of the second floor, 2 bathrooms, original located over here and be relocated along the back wall. So the front part of the house becomes the more major program, like living room or master bedroom or etc. And this is the new floor, which is the third floor. It's a multitask space for their future using. And that's the very early sketch. So the lower 2 floors is the original building renovated, and I call this space for a family. The new floor, which is on the top of the building, I call this the space of the ocean. So that's a combination of an inward daily life space and an outward spiritual space on the top. So that's some structural and tectonic detail sketch along the process of the design. And we actually has a detailed design through this building space, which is the window part. We interpret the window not as a simple cut opening on the facade, but an inserted small room within nature and interior space. So it becomes almost like a window furniture or window space along the perimeter of their house. Some details, structure and tectonic details. And that's after the renovation, the entire construction process. And that's the captain's house. And you can see how vivid, even though it's not clean, but it's very vivid contextual condition around the house. And some of the buildings here are even from 300 years ago by Qing Dynasty or even earlier. And that's another angle in the middle. This is the captain's house, and that's the peninsula of this fishing village. And this is the peaceful landscape side, and that's the busy landscape side. In the twilight condition, the building is more standing out from the neighbors because the contemporary detailing technology allow us more transparent material comparing with this traditional architecture around. But in the daily time, the house is more blending into the environment because of the palette of the material, the texture and the color And between this new and old parts, we leave a 30 centimeter gap to subtly indicate the relationship of this new and old. But you feel the evolving process of this piece of architecture. You can still figure out which part is new and which part is old, but they stay together within a new harmony. That's our design intent. That's some interior shot this is from the daughter's bedroom. So the window becomes a piece of table, a reading space facing the ocean and the island in the distance. And that's their living room. And you see the window become a couch in the corner. And of course, we establish some operable pane in the window for the air ventilation. And when you open it up, the light condition changes and the air condition changes as well. So it's the interaction between our body and the architecture settings. That's the third floor. It's a barrel vault structure because we can save the column and beam in this kind of structure type. And one of the most important reasons we apply this kind of shape on the top of the roof is because it's very easy to resist the water leaking, because no water can really stay on top of this curve. So it helps to improve their water leaking condition of the entire house, and itself become a more like a spiritual space for the family. I call this a family chapel for them because they're a religious family. They believe in Christian. That's the other side. So the previous picture is looking at the peaceful ocean landscape, but this direction is facing to the busy harbor, and the captain's boats are parking inside the harbor. So this space is really a connection, architecture connection for this landscape around. And the ocean for the family is not only a beautiful or pretty view as a tourist. The ocean for them is the resource of their life. So the relationship or emotion between their family and the ocean is more complex than by just looking at an image. That's why this is so important for their family. And that's some other shots from the village. So you can sense the relationship between this new intervention of architecture and together with this old contextual architecture condition. Twilight. So I guess it's a very pleasant collaboration progress. And this building was built 3 years ago. Now they have been using this building more than 3 years. And this picture is right after the finish of the construction. And Captain and his wife treat me a karaoke in their pink light room in their village. So it's a very pleasant memory for me. And last year, I received a series of pictures from the family. And because of the intervention of the space to their daily life, I do feel the change of the entire atmosphere of their family. So that really made me feel architecture has the power or has the capability to give the dignity to the regular people, especially the people who live in the rural area in China, and really make something happen through their daily life. And this year is even some more interesting happened. The daughter of the family of the captain, she organized an architecture competition within their family. She invited some architecture curators, scholars or professors around the area. And at the same time, many students or young architects participate in this architecture competition, and they have their final review on the top of the third floor of their family. So on the right of the screen, you can see how big the model they're making for this competition. So this entire family, I think their life is growing, and but the foundation is the involvement of the architecture space. But that's probably the presentation that I will have for today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.